Hey everybody, it's Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc, and you are live with me on Sunday, December 13th. Christmas is close by and we're in the middle of Hanukkah. Welcome, and please make sure you type in where you're joining me in from, whereabouts in the world, and whether it's better to be naughty or nice. Both answers are acceptable. I just always like to see what the feeling of the group is. And I'm going to start off today with a personal pet peeve of mine when I've been at a retail store and you ask a simple question and they reply with no problem. No problem to me says, no problem. I would have done as much for my dog. And I think it's something that we have to be very aware of because it's kind of become slang for, and whatever. And the problem with that is the right words are thank you or my pleasure or I enjoy doing it, but not no problem. And so I encourage you to be listening for yourself and your employees when responding to customers. I'd love to do that, or thank you, or it's my pleasure. But when you say it's no problem, it would be like, that would be appropriate if I said, could you go and take my car down to the grocery store and pick up some groceries and bring them back to me? And you said, no problem. You're like, wow, that's great. No problem. But what I end up hearing is, I've got a little problem broadcasting here. What I hear is, oh, it's no problem. Like, you're nothing to me. So just be careful of that. And then the other thing is to be realizing that in this harried time that you want to be listening better than ever. So when you hear somebody ask you a question, it might be a little complex. It might be an order detail, it might be something like that. Make sure that you go through and just restate it in one line what you think you heard. So that works really well in customer complaints, works well when you're trying to get orders right, but just restate it once and make sure that you're on the same page, because a lot of times we go through and we assume we heard them and we answer the wrong question or we waste their time somehow. So just be really focused on what am I hearing and then what am I saying that says that I value you, because that's nothing that makes customers more upset than feeling like you didn't hear me or you dismissed me. And that also goes for your employees too, right? So if an employee brings something to you as well, make sure that you restate it in one sentence that says, I heard you. Whether you're going to do what they say is not the issue. Just make sure that they know I heard you. So glad to have you all here this morning. We got people from all over. We got Amy from Pittsburgh, PA. Thank you for that. Sivan from Lewisburg. Great. Tristan from Boston. Donna in Tollbooth, Massachusetts. Is that actually a place? That sounds like you're over at the edge of the 90 freeway. Sorry. Heidi from Saratoga Springs. Great. We have a lot more of you joining in. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you very much, Rochelle. Exactly, because no one goes through and gives us the time that we give to go into a store, and that's what really matters. Value them. And a lot of you, when I said we didn't have any questions last night, a lot of you were like, well, I'm so busy, I didn't put any questions in. And I love hearing that. But I know it's early in the morning. I doubt most of you are open on a Sunday morning at 9 a.m., much less at 6 a.m. in the West Coast. So I appreciate you tuning in. See, Deanna's there from San Diego. I appreciate that. I love that, Joanne. Yes, to repetition, my pleasure from Cincinnati. Yeah, I appreciate that as well. So I'm going to get to your questions. There were a lot of them that were interesting today, and hopefully I will give you some ideas of things that you could look at, some things to consider, and what you can do with it as well. For Tristan, Tollbooth, I think, is a gift shop. Oh, thank you very much. Sorry, Donna. All right. So Sarah asked me, what's your best recommendation when turning around a slow day? I didn't have a slow day today, but I've wondered on slow days what action I could take. So the number one thing is to understand that state determines attitude. In other words, you know what it's like to be really super busy, right? You are pumped. Everything is great. You're like, yes, I can do anything. We've all had those days, right? And then there's other days where you say hello and nothing works, right? There's no way you can get traction. No one's buying from you. And what my concern is always is what has happened to my state, the state that I have in my head. And so what I've always said is, first off, if you have a really great day, make sure that you anchor, what we call anchor it, which means to really force the brain to say, how do I feel right now? What is my energy level? Where's my focus? Where are my eyes? How is my chest feeling? All of those kind of things, so that I understand, like, oh, this is what a peak state feels like. It would be like winning a game or having a big sale, or I'm a musician, finishing a concert, that pump. What does it feel like? Anchoring it so I know what that's like. And then realize that my goal is, how do I get myself up to that when it may be down? So the biggest thing that happens when it's a slow day is your energy level drops and your attention drops, and your body invariably drops, because ultimately what your body is showing the world is, leave me alone, I'm not quite feeling the energy. And so you have to counteract that. So one of the things I always do, and this is very true, I do it to this day, is jumping jacks or imaginary hoops in the back room, whatever that is. And then for your crew is to go through and do mind games, compare and contrast this apple to this game, and how are they alike and how are they different. And you are forcing the brain to be busy thinking about it. But the key to all of it is making sure that your store looks busy. This is why I don't believe in painting your front windows. I don't believe in covering the front windows so much that nobody can see in. Activity draws people in, and that's really important. I noticed that Aaron Blanton had said, I always get out a ladder and set it up right in the middle of the floor, spill something and make a huge mess all over the floor that needs to be cleaned up. That seems to bring people in droves. And a lot of you laugh, but it's my point, Aaron, that activity attracts activity, which is why if you have a parking lot in front of your store and you've always had your employees park behind your store, when it's dead, have them park in the front and have them role play of walking in and out. When I was in the restaurant business, new restaurants, I would have the employees, if we're dead, have two people sit out on the patio, look like they're drinking, drinks or whatever it's going to be. Well, not drinks, but, Coke or whatever it is, because people attract people. So when you're having a slow day, realize that the default most of us do is we go into task manager. Oh, now's the day we'll clean. Well, if they can see you cleaning, that's one thing. But if it's doing things in the back or things that makes the store stay looking empty, not good. So I hope that helps. Mary, greeting from Paso Robles, keeping your energy up. That's great. You do yoga aerobics. Can't even imagine what that is. But that's great. Heidi's asking me, can you speak to the differences between selling in person versus selling on the phone? I'm actually going to get to that, Heidi. I have a question here coming up. So I hope that helps with you, Sarah, and I'm glad to know that you didn't have a down day, but it really comes down to get the body to move first. The body moves, pumps, whatever it's going to be to keep that energy going. That puts you in a peak state. Remember what other good states have been like, and then you're ready for that next person to make that entry that has energy behind it. Because if you don't correct that, then the slowness becomes what you're giving off, not just the fact that there are less people walking in. And I know that's tough today with, California's is something like 20% occupancy in retail. So I know it's tough out there, Californians. I feel for you. To me, it's the almost worst case scenario that you're going to be closed down right before Christmas. But a lot of you are resourceful, and now is the time creativity has to come out. And what are you going to do to go after it? Alice says, what do you predict is going to be the focus of consumers coming out of the pandemic? What should we look ahead to for spring and summer in terms of products that are likely to strike a chord with people who may still be in some form of lockdown but exhausted by a full year of COVID? Thank you for your weekly butt kick and or inspiration. I guess I could do both, right? So there's that. Well, Alice, thanks very much. We're all wondering what it's going to be like. I'm already tired of the COVID lockdown, and I'm only 9 months into it, so I don't think it's going to get necessarily better. I have been saying this all along. I think we're on the cusp of a new hedonism. I think we're seeing that with products as diverse as RVs and bikes and sewing machines. People are going after the best and brightest. They are looking for it. I think that any events that are going to start happening, that's going to be your watchword to hear that concerts are coming back, or people having fundraisers, or people are getting together, even if it's socially distanced. And then you are figuring out, if you're a apparel store, how can they dress up for it? That whatever they had before isn't going to be good enough. I think with kids going back to school, parents are going to have the ability to come together, whether that's going to be intimate gatherings at people's homes or even mommy groups at a coffee house. also understand that half of the nation is not under that. And so this may be very different for you. You might be going through business as usual with people with masks, and all it's going to change is they won't have their masks on. So I get it. It's all over the map. I think indoor decorating is still going to be tops when we come through all of this, and getting outside will still be tops. Make no mistake, I think those who continue on the price and promotion are going to have a tough time as they are out of inventory when we come into January and February. And as the vaccine gets rolled out today, as we're hearing, it is expected that people will be coming back quicker than we thought, that by April or May. I'm hearing, I think by July 4th, they think the whole U.S. will have had the ability to have a vaccine. Whether people take it, whether we have herd immunity, isn't the issue. What was the issue is hope. People see an end point of this and the chance to have normalcy. And that's what I do. And again, if you're one of those people that says, yeah, but, well, good for you, but that's not going to make you money. You've got to find hope wherever you can. And that goes in your store with your crew, and particularly with your customers, being able to pivot those uncomfortable conversations where people want to talk about how horrible it's all going to be. And, I have a whole course still. We were going to take it down back in August on rebuilding trust with your crew. It's 8 simple lessons. They're free. I'll put a link in here. It's actually kind of a trial of SalesRx, my online retail sales training program. And if you haven't taken that, I would encourage you particularly to find out how do you pivot those conversations, how to use social media better. And it doesn't cost you anything. It's free registration, just your name and email address. And after this is over, I will put that in the comments below. You can do that as well. And a lot of you asked me about when the next comeback sprint is. We did that in August. It was a great success. And we're doing another one. January the 15th will be its kickoff. So we'll have a webinar the week before. It's free. That tells you some things you could do right now. And if you want to go deeper in actually how to drive sales, you can find out from me and SalesRx. You can also buy SalesRx right now and then join the comeback, the New Year's sprint then. But it's doubtful you're going to be signing up for training 2 weeks before Christmas. Make no mistake, those who have done it are realizing how much money they have left on the table. And if you have not been using it, well, there's still time for you to get a head start on next spring, because ultimately nothing's going to change except your attitude and your skills in how to convert more lookers to buyers, because the shoppers are out there, everything I am reading and seeing. All right. Deidre says, we have a website and we sell on Etsy. What are the advantages of having a website, and what are the options in your opinion on those? Facebook Marketplace, Google, eBay, Amazon, and others. Deidre, there are a million places you can sell right now. There's no two ways about it. There are pluses and minuses for all of them. I think the one thing to realize is that any retail store needs to be able to have an online outlet of some kind. Most people would have done it as a web page through Shopify or something like that. Others might have done it through their POS companies. Some people do Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, comments sold is an option for some. I just encourage you to pick one and master it, because one thing that I personally don't need, I'm not a great one for Instagram. I do it, but it's just not one I've mastered. I've mastered LinkedIn, and I think I've mastered Facebook pretty well, and Twitter really well. But at some point, they all demand your attention. They're like having a child. How many kids do you want running around the house? So I want something that is unified, and if I sell on Shopify, I can link in all these other ways and do my checkout. I don't want to have to manage merchandise, because here's the thing, all of them should have transparency and information. If you have 5 of this item and you're selling them, everybody should see you have 5 and then you have 4 or whatever. You don't want to be taking orders and have somebody then get that little email, oh, sorry, we sold out of it. That doesn't build you credibility or anything else. And then also realize, are you selling enough that this is making you money, or are you working for free fulfilling orders? Because the most profitable items that you sell are probably still going to be in a store where you are not matched up against faceless competitors that I can click against. When they're in your store and you can romance it and you can make the sale, that's going to always be the best. I hope that helps. Sue Ann says, recommendation for auto service businesses when people shop by phone. Okay, this is a new one. We have competition doing stuff close to cost, and we're giving a fair price, and I get a, oh, hell no click. So I always say, Sue Ann, I was in one of my very first clients was a hotel in Newport Beach, California. And we had people being able to always undercut. They would pretty much call his other hotels. They'd find out what you charge, and then they would do something cheaper. And I said, well, we're going to stop this. We're going to raise our prices. Almost doubled their prices actually on the weekends. And the first thing we would do is to overwhelm them with what they got. So hopefully I can even remember this off the cuff. And this is 30 years ago. So you would call and you'd say, I'm looking for a room. Oh, what dates are you looking for? June 4th through the 3rd. Oh, so the nights of the 4th and 3rd. Is that correct? Yes. While I check availability, may I ask, have you ever been to our resort before? No, I haven't. May I tell you a little bit about us? Wait for the yes. Well, we're located between both the bay and the ocean beaches. And one of the things that makes us special is we have everything for a great day at the beach. Towels, boogie boards, chairs, and that's all free. We also have a breakfast buffet, and it's things you can actually eat: bagels, cereal, eggs, the whole works. It's not just like a stale roll and some tea. And also at check-in every day, we have fresh baked chocolate chip cookies. It looks like we do have availability. May I tell you about our room types? I've already prepared you for what all you get before I give it to you. So I would encourage you, have you used our auto service before? May I tell you a little bit about how we work? And then you're going to start off. We do a 21-point safety inspection every time. And one of the things that most people don't check is whatever that's going to be. And that's standard with us for free. And we do X, Y, and Z. And you're justifying why you cost more before you ever get the price. Those who get frustrated with that and hang up on you, they're not your customer. And I'll even say that those who say, oh, hell no, they weren't your customer either. So I always would encourage you, Sue Ann, like I tell people with shop at home window fashions and draperies and flooring, your goal is to get them into the store or to get them to your service business first, and try to make it that the goal is to get them there, because once they're there, you've got them. That would be my 2 big recommendations, Sue Ann. I hope that helps down there. To Top Fan Lauren says, now that everybody's shopping online, what steps should be taking to pivot from brick and mortar to focus online? So it's kind of like in line with what I said before. You know, there's I would never pivot from brick and mortar. The reality is everybody from Target to Walmart realizes it's why we call it omni-channel, although we're pretty much just calling it shopping now. That if you want to shop drive up and pick it up, you can. If you want to shop online, we ship it from the store, we can. If you want us to drop ship it from the manufacturer, we can. You want to come into the store, we can. You want to use a catalog, we can. You want to use social media, you can. You want to figure out how do you stay in front of your customers, but don't just go on to all these sites and say, oh, if I just go to all these sites, customers will be there. Each one, again, is like a child roaming around your house. You have to pay attention to, because they're still in diapers and they're going to do something that could potentially get messy and stinky, that's going to distract you from the rest of your profitable business. So making sure that you do have a website, people can find you. Google My Business is still way underused by most individual businesses. And then understanding that contactless payments and texting are going to be the way of the future. I'll talk more about that at that webinar I'll be having in January. So I hope that helps. I would just say, do something new and different. This has been a time of creativity, and we're seeing that with so many different retailers and all the different things they're doing to figure it out and to understand that, yeah, for the next 3 or 4 months, it's still going to be dicey, particularly if, gosh forbid, you're in a major metropolitan area and you're dependent on people who came to work to stop in and see you. There's no 2 ways about it. However, if you've ever listened to me for the last 4 years, you've built a mailing list, you've built an email list, you've built a social following. And if you haven't, you know what? It starts today, because you can't go back and regret the past. Just start fresh today. And what can I do to be prepared for the next year? I hope that helps. Amber says, we host a Facebook Live each Thursday night. We have more people watching and more comments, but our reach is reduced dramatically. We used to get 3 to 6 reach by the end of our broadcast. Now we're lucky to get 1,000 or 2,000. We haven't changed anything. We ask our viewers to comment and share the post. We have more comments and more people watching, but reach is decreased. Any reason Facebook algorithms changing? Should we not ask guests to share? So I always ask people to share, certainly, but I did take a quick look at your last video. I got to be honest, if you're the right Amber, that I'm pretty sure you and your mom were in the last one. And the whole idea was to tag friends, and you were like right off the bat, oh, tag your friends and all this. That gets a little old for me, if you're making success with it, great. And if you're selling with it, great. But I also would encourage you to get better lighting and get a nice ring light or invest in some nice lights. You can get them on B&H. You can get them at your local photography dealer. You can probably get them Amazon. I'm not using my stage lights today because I don't have my green screen on. But make sure that you are lit well, and make sure that you are going through and have a better camera. The experience for the customer should be more of a broadcast quality, not like something I just did in my garage. That would be my tip. And also look at your thumbnail afterwards, because it's not compelling. You can change that after the recording by just going in and modifying that. That would be my guess. But quite simply, Facebook has been changing the algorithm. I'm going through the same thing. The post that I normally could have spent, I don't know, $15 for, I think it was charging me almost $4 for to get in front of people who are my own fans. So the other thing to realize is there are a lot of people. You're out in a marketplace, and basically Facebook only has so much width. So if they have somebody who's willing to pay a lot of money to get in front of your fans or in front of people like you, you're going to be pushed down in the algorithm. So I'd say you just keep doing it, do a better job, get your production values up, and ask questions. But more importantly, comment with real answers. Comment sold is fine, but you still want to be a person. And I think just using Facebook as an e-com site kind of squanders the ability that you can get from being more personal. It looked like you had some great ideas for videos. I just quickly looked at that last one you had. I hope that helps. And again, I'm only here to help, not hurt. And if you like what I have to say, you can always give me a thumbs up, give me some love, because obviously I intend to be here a long time and I need your support as well. So Sarah says, I totally agree with focusing on what you're best at with social media and selling. We have found, what are you saying? We are already planning a pivot for 2021, not only social media, but how we present our store. Lots of excitement. I love that, Sarah, because that really is it. We are in an age of reinvention. It's not like, oh, I need to redo the store. We need to redo the store all the time, and we need to redo ourselves. One thing I have found from this pandemic is a renewed sense of creativity. I found it on my crew. I found it on my vendors, and I've certainly found it listening to the stories that you all have. And let's just make sure it's about making somebody else's day first. That when you look at the comments, when you look at the way you're posting on social media or on your website, and it's all about I, realize that all anybody wants to read about is how you will help me. So the words about you are really important. How you can go through and do that makes it much more valuable, particularly when it comes to social media. Like I try to do is to get your questions, not just have me pontificate about what's great and rotten in retail, although I've been known to do that once or twice. I don't have any rants lately today. I don't have any raise today. Candace says, a raise or a bonus? Why not both? Why not both, Candace? I'm a bigger believer in raise for performance. So most of you have gone through a really tough time. I think that, we had this question last week, and I talked about, even doing lottery tickets. If you don't have a lot of money, that may be an option to do, but nothing better than a sincere 3-paragraph thank you sent at right after Christmas to your best employees, telling them what a great job they've got. I know some of you say, your raise is effective when I hold you over in January because you did such a great job. There's always a good way to spin it, but make no mistake, we are all looking for a little validation right now. We're all looking for a little bit of a, hey, good job, or thank you, or whatever, which is why people are buying. And people are treating themselves with home electronics or new computers or new window fashions or a number of different things. Just don't forget that it's your job to make your employees' day so that they make your customers' day. If it's just, come on, keep going, I don't think that makes anybody any money, or it's a fun place to be as well. So Lulu says, brick and mortar schedule virtual appointments and show what you have. Wow. Wow them. Yeah, exactly, Lulu. That's exactly. Wow them, just like Bob says. See, Lulu, you're clearly brilliant. I love that. So if you like what I had to say, hey, Aaron, if you like what you still owe me a call, dude. You have a hotel opening with no training program or service standards set. And yes, I am watching. Make sure that if I give you any ideas and you're going to do something with them, put them in the comments below, because quite simply, unless you access the information you heard, It's going to go in one ear and out the other. And then that means you wasted your roughly 24 minutes here with me today. So type in one thing that you are going to do as a result of listening to me, or something you did this year different than the other time. And I will promise you I won't put up kitten videos that say, hang in there. I'll just keep giving more tools for you to do better with your customers, your employees, so that we can get through this and change the world by the people working and shopping in retail. I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. Thanks for joining me today. And hopefully I will see you next week, the final weekend before Christmas. And happy Hanukkah to those of you who are celebrating tonight as well. Thanks so much.